How good was yesterday's game?
Amazing.
Would have been nice to win it, but
just ridiculous. I don't want to talk about it because I'm worried I'm going to get emotional. It was such a Just and Bogut's interview afterwards, the fact that he was so pissed off.
Yeah,
like he was like, wasn't not just happy to be on the same court as them. It's we can beat the Americans. Like it was really cool. Really good, grumpy losing. Like it wasn't a bad loser, but he wasn't
disappointed losing. Yeah, it's competitive.
Bitter pill. Yeah, it's cool.
Let's talk Olympics though.
Yeah. So I love the Olympics. Who doesn't?
My favourite part of every 4 years.
It's great. One of the things I was reflecting on, I mentioned to you the other day, was that when we watch the Olympics, what we're seeing is all these amazing athletes. What we're not seeing is that for every one Olympian, they're like the tip of the pyramid. There's all the other ones that kind of
there's a trail they left behind.
and
old teammates.
Yeah, and people that just didn't make it because their bodies let them down, and some of them who are probably never going to make it because some people who have a predisposition to breaking. I mean, the Eastern European model of athletic development: grow a basket of eggs, throw them at the wall.
The ones that don't break, they're the ones that you're Olympians. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think to a certain extent, China probably. I mean, China has those massive institutes where they just, they've got 200 people all doing the same discipline, and some of them will make it through. But I guess what's interesting to think about is how many of them. So there's a section of people who are just, unfortunately, it's harsh, but were probably never going to make it. They might have had the talent, the skill side, but their body wasn't going to live up to their talent.
A muscle fibre thing, or a tendon collagen thing, or a joint laxity.
The big thing we see is the collagen thing, where people who've got floppy joints. You can do everything in the world to make them move better, land better, stronger muscles, but fundamentally, a floppy joint is a floppy joint.
And there's also the people that just can't handle the workload.
Yeah.
Like there's the people who break because they can't handle the landing or the cutting or the running. There's also those who just can't handle 30, 40, 50 hours of training a week.
And some bodies can. But there's a subset of people who are the ones that are a little bit sad, who are the ones that, if they've been given the right guidance at the right time, and I feel like I'm making an ad now, like I don't want to be self-serving, but I often think about that.
You can do stuff to get yourself further along, closer to the Olympics.
Or maybe to
maximise your genetics, basically.
Yeah, to change the odds. And so I think that's a big, and I've had a few athletes over the years that have worked at a professional level who you thought, wow, if you had a time machine, you could go work with that person as a youngster.
How much further could we have gone?
Yeah, what could it have been? So I think that's really interesting, the idea. And so, because people get very excited about the Olympics, parents do, kids, everyone gets really fired up. And what they rush to is early specialisation. It's like, right, you're going to be this Olympian. We'll Tiger Woods had a golf club in his hand at 4 whatever it was, and it's like you want to take that, and that's wrong. That's like early specialisation is not good for athletes.
It's been proven as well. There's some stuff out there that says, like, if you look at this, and it's big in baseball.
Yeah,
you're a good pitcher in the little leagues. Just pitch, just be a baseballer. And it's like you're just going to wear your shoulder out. Your shoulder the body's a finite resource, and it does break down. And if you are just doing one repetitive thing over and over and over, it will break down.
And you're not getting that cross-pollination of different skills from different sports. So, if you played a bit of hockey, a bit of footy, there'll be other things you'll bring to the table from that, having a well-rounded body. It's sort of like, in a good way, a CrossFit sort of approach.
It's this, be a generalist before a specialist, and be a generalist for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So,
as long as it's working, like there'll come a certain point. So, one of our kids who we won't name this week has made it to the national level with netball, but is also playing
high-level basketball.
So at some point, there's going to be a choice, but she's pushed it out as long as she can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because you get the benefit of having multiple skill sets. So my favourite example, I'm biased, I'm a Collingwood supporter, don't hold it against me, but my favourite example is Scott Pendlebury.
Yeah.
Who maybe questions...
Did you see me wince a little bit?
Yes.
Because everyone's just turned off. We've got a perfectly good podcast.
No, this is going well, stay with us. But he is the perfect example, because there's question marks whether he could have made the NBA. He was that good back when he was sort of in the institute, in the state programs and the Aussie programs, stuff like that. And then he sort of drifted away from basketball and started playing footy with his mate and sort of got the bug again and came back to AFL. And now he's one of the elite pointy-end football. Yeah. And you see him on the field, it's like he moves like a basketball. He's silky. He's got all the time in the world, and he's dancing around opponents, and that comes from his background in basketball.
Both. Yeah. I still think you've derailed this whole thing.
So anyway, back to the Olympics. Let's talk more about durability.
So what I wanted to talk about was that energy, that enthusiasm that people pour into the early specialisation concept. My feeling is take that energy and pour that into general, all-purpose durability, physical conditioning capacity,
and broad skill sets.
Yes, it's almost like you've got like a military spec vehicle, so the athlete is really robust and they can do all sorts of different things. And if we did that, what would be great is if you had sliding doors, 2 different universes. The universe that does that really well has a much bigger base of athletes that are pushing the other athletes, and as the base gets better, the people at the pointy end get
Rising
better.
tide. Yeah.
Yeah.
You build a tall pyramid.
So
instead of stretching at the top, you bring everyone up. So if everyone is pretty decent, the people who are decent, you have to work harder to get to.
Yeah, and I think that would be, if you could have a blueprint for making, and we want a great sporting nation. Let's not, Australia.
We want medals.
Well,
so medals.
So if your view was just medal centric, that's actually what you would do. So you do less specialisation and more general preparation of the body. So the machine that does the sport, the human body was better and better prepared in a general sense to get really good later on.
Okay, so you're president. You're named president tomorrow. What do you do from, say, 10 years on? How do you program it into the curriculum, into schools, into sporting bodies to get these kids to develop and to lift that tide faster and better and more consistently?
So you have everyone sample lots of sports. So just like we did in PE, which I didn't enjoy because I was like, I just want to play basketball, I don't want to do stupid baseball. Like I was
the same to a degree, yeah.
So you make them do multiple sports, and then I think the really important.
Sorry, on that, you do it from a play and a learning point of view, not from a winning point of view.
Yeah.
I think you play for the sport. You change the rules. You play small-sided games. You boys versus girls mixed, and you play a variety of stuff from a young age so that you're exposed to.
But you give them a really good sampling across a wide range of sports.
Yeah.
And then I think that the big thing is teaching those universal fundamentals that kids don't grow up with these days in terms of sprint technique, agility, vertical, just
jumping, landing,
basic mobility.
Throwing and catching is a big one.
Yeah, all those things right, and particularly the skills of moving. I like them. I think my son's in grade 1, and in prep they learn how to make the letters, and there's a very specific way to make a letter, and they've got little arrows telling you how to make an A. And,
line 1, line 2.
Yep. Yeah. And he's quite into the technicalities of it all, and he's been taught well.
It's good attention to detail.
Yeah, that's cool. He's got better handwriting than I have, but that's not hard. But anyway, that idea of that same level of, in the same way that we're teaching the kids how to form a letter before we expect them to form sentences, paragraphs, and stories.
Yes, yep.
If you could do the same thing with teaching them how to strike the ground with their foot, how to do all, I think that having this incredibly high movement literacy amongst our kids will just, everything else, there'd be such a flow-on effect from that. And I'm not particularly obsessed about them doing lots of power work when they're young, or it's just move beautifully, fire the right muscles at the right time. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Which is what we're trying to do in a mini sense here. Like we're trying to get them.
Yeah, especially a junior population. It's all about, can you squat nicely with just your own body weight? Can you land nice and softly? Can you strike the ground with the midfoot? Can you drive your arms when you sprint? Stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's what I would do, and that would be pretty cool.